All righty, welcome back to the Red Corner, folks. Whole gang is here. That was a monster series. Boys, the Dodgers came into Philadelphia undefeated, number one record, number one team in the major leagues. Not anymore, right? Phillies not only hand them their first loss, they hand them their first series loss. Slim, instant reaction. Where are we at, baby?
The instant reaction is that this Philadelphia Phillies team isn't scared at all of this Dodgers team. And a couple of things that stood out to me, I've been preaching it since the end of last season, is the defense, right? I think this series we played the better defense. A couple of highlights we saw. I know everybody loves seeing Sosa get in there last night to play a little center field. Everyone probably loved that. But he looked cool out there. Marsh today came running in and made that grab. Moments before that, Michael Jack Schmidt was off the mic. He was saying he didn't understand why Marsh was so far back. Next thing you know, he made a great play. I know some of those players came in later, but still, it was still an out. It could have easily not have been an out. And then who knows when that first out does get recorded. And then on the other hand, a dude who was a big-time free agent this offseason, his name was Hernandez, their right fielder. Don't get me wrong. He looked great today. He got to Sanchez every time he got up. But throughout the series, we saw miscommunication with him out in right field. I don't think he's really any threat to throw anybody out from what I've seen so far early in this year. And I say that because I'm a guy.
Unless you're Bryson Stott, of course.
Well,
because he got gunned out by him.
Well, I'm a guy who, when I'm looking at it, him getting gunned out was a little bit different, right? He got gunned out
for sure.
Right, so that's more what I'm talking about there. I wouldn't even consider that a gun out. Right. But when I look at Hernandez, that's a dude who is somewhat of a jewel in the free agent market. And then I look at our right fielder, Castellanos, who has been underappreciated, definitely by Slim, myself, not going to lie. And at the end of this series, I can't say that Hernandez is better than Castellanos in any of those regards or aspects. The way that I'm viewing it right now, I seen Castellanos. I thought I thought he had a great series today. He topped it off with that grand slam. I had to take a double take because I really thought it was Schwarber who hit one that far. I was like, I can't believe Schwarber again hit a grand slam. But here it was Castellanos. So yeah. And I say that I like to do the positional comparisons because the Dodgers built their roster trying to have the best player at every single position. And for sure, to me, I don't see that at all. And then the second takeaway is the Alec Bohm stuff. I'll wait, but I don't think it's as bad as we're making it out to be. I saw Alec Bohm yesterday, game 2. Him and Muncy both were making great plays down at third base defensively. So, again, that's where I start defensively. So, Bohm to me was great defensively. I'm eager to get him back in the lineup, to get his confidence back fast, because we're going to need him.
Bones, what are you thinking there, man?
I thought Phillies played it well throughout. They didn't let Ohtani beat them, which is good without Freddie Freeman up there. He was out hurt, but I think they've really minimized Ohtani all weekend long, especially in the last couple days. Today he had 2 strikeouts, right? 2 or 3 strikeouts he had.
I
think he only had one hit all series.
1 for 11 to be exact.
Friday night, his first 2 at-bats, he smoked the ball, and I was like, oh, man, this is going to be a long weekend. Because the first at-bat, it was 110 miles an hour, loud out number 1.
Right.
And then Chris talked about Hernandez for the Dodgers. He's a streaky player, probably perfect fit for the Phillies, to be honest with you. And they just happened to catch him at the wrong time. Luckily, they got the win today. But he's a streaky player. He can kill you. And he was a big target in free agency for them.
Yeah.
Because he's got that power. He's got the power bat. And it was weird yesterday when Schwarber hit that ball. As we talked about, you talked about Stott getting thrown out. When Schwarber hit that ball, I thought, wow, that's going down the line. That's going to be extra bases the way it was on TV. It came off the bat. And just to see that get caught and then Stock get thrown out. And the first thing in my head was like, once he's thrown that ball to first, I said, hopefully there's enough time for this runner to score because we could still get the run because we're going to need it.
Right.
And obviously it didn't work out that way. And it was... So I don't know if it was bad base running by Stott or it was just
Wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah. Because I don't think he could have got that far off the bag to like
React.
get thrown out. Yeah. Because the way it was, like I said, the way it was hit, it looked like it was going to be a double. So I don't know if he's seen it the same way I did, but I was watching on TV. He was live in person.
Tough read. Very tough read.
And that's also, so that's him that made a bad read and also the first base coach.
Right.
You know? So,
100%.
But all in all, I thought it was great starting pitching by the Phillies all weekend. Sanchez, little out of command today with his pitches, but still good enough to get the win. Romano stinks. We're not going to pronounce his name right till he pitches well enough, but
he's
he
still
stinks.
Romano on this podcast. No, that's for sure.
I like saying Romano because it makes me smile. It's just a funny thing to say. But to Bones' point, a couple quick things. Ohtani, that first one, right? They said that could have been a home run. The win took a home run away from Ohtani there. We saw the rumor is Bryce Harper has led the league in home runs being taken away, playing in Citizens Bank. So this time it's on our side. It takes ones away from Ohtani. And frankly, I watched Ohtani last year, and he was truly an MVP. Every time he came up to bat, his first at bat, if he didn't see it right, his second at bat would be a different approach, and he would get on these pitchers quick. He didn't look good at all. So he was getting himself out, you know.
Never got comfortable.
I think the broadcast even joked like, "Oh, hopefully we wanted so and so to get in here because we want to see Ohtani lead off the next inning, you know, because he was that bad." And I think Michael Jack Smith actually might have said it. The second thing, Sanchez, right? He had a decent game. It was fine. We saw the one person get to him. Unfortunately, if one person gets to you, that can lose you games. We got lucky today. When you see that one person, it reminds me of when it reminds me of the World Series with Pedro Martinez and Matsui getting to Martinez. You know, Martinez got everyone else out, but again, you know, because we're going to see these same players again.
It's a nice callback.
Going back to the aggressiveness on the stop getting called out, we've seen all year in these first 9 games, the Phillies are changing their approach at the plate. They're supposed to be anyway. I know we had a couple bad innings hit, but they're changing their approach at the plate. That's why we saw Bone probably sitting today because he saw 4 pitches and 3 at bats. But they're also changing their approach on the bases. And I don't blame Stott at all for getting caught there. I do blame Topper a little bit. Maybe in that position, you don't really need to force it there. You know, maybe just get the run because I think at that time it was a tying run. Was that second? So I disagree with Topper.
Was that third?
Was that third?
One out.
Was that third? Right, exactly. With 1 out. Right. So exactly. So tying run at third, 1 out. You don't got to push it there. Just tie that game up. In my opinion, Topper has been a different manager this year. He's still pushing buttons. So when you're playing a point guard, when you're like again going back to the Magic Johnson comparison, when you're playing point guard, sometimes your passes are not going to be ready for it. Sometimes it's going to be a turnover that goes the other way for a quick, easy 2. And I think that's what happened there. But we saw the whole team's engaged when you're keeping it like that. Because again, look at Schwarber when he came and got that when he scored home the other night. So, yeah, it's been great. Oh, and here's the other one. The other one was pitch hitting Turner, you know, when Turner came in and got the pitch hit walk, you know, and then we had to do the little switcheroo because Turner wasn't playing defense that day, but still it worked.
And he still kept Sosa in there. So,
and he kept Sosa in there.
Yeah. It's been, and, you know, to that play that you just alluded to with the double up at first, and then the chat, we got some chat activity. I'll get to you guys, but Franny D just said, Mike Schmidt mentioned on the game today that the reason that Topper sent him was to try to prevent the double play. And, you know, you can make that argument, but then, like you said, Slim, do we really need that? We got the tying run at third, one out, a little bit over aggressive. It just didn't work out, and obviously the irony is that he got doubled up anyway, right? Somewhat of a freak play. You got to not be super reactionary to plays like that because 9 times out of 10 that's not going to happen, right?
Oh, so that was a hit and run?
That's what they're saying.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes.
That explains it more.
That explains it more, right? So they were trying to prevent the double play ball, which obviously happened on the freak one. So another chat here, Steve Ka is saying the Phillies have turned the let's sign in the offseason or trade at the deadline for the most washed reliever in baseball into an art form at this point, dating back to ... Now that's we're going to get into Romano later, but yeah, boys, like you hit on. So Christopher Sanchez, right today, he wasn't perfect, but he gave you enough. And if you removed Teoscar Hernandez from the equation, he was actually pretty good, right? So he had through 5 innings, he had 9 Ks, 4 earned runs, but Teoscar Hernandez had 5 RBIs himself. So somewhat of a freak game, but the Phillies got it done. So let's before
one
we
point
get
to the four aces.
Go ahead.
If we're keeping a running tally, it's 1 point for the 4 aces. Okay. You know, we had the Nola homers and we had the Sanchez. So if we're going series interval by series interval, I would have to go back in this day in history. Maybe Bo's can look these up for us going forward. But at this interval, I bet you the 4 aces.
You're the guy.
I bet you the 4 aces had a better performance than what we saw out of Nola and Sanchez.
Yeah, I mean, that was you. You kind of went out on a limb on that one last episode. I thought we kind of put that to bed that when we revealed the 4 aces stats that year, I don't think that they're going to compare. But hey, hopefully they do.
Yeah, I'm willing to put it to bed. I'm willing to put it.
I don't think Noah had a big game yesterday.
No, quality start. You're muted, Kearns. All right, boys. Let's kind of talk about the main themes of this series, right? Awesome series, playoff environment. The fans turned up really well. Despite the bad weather, there was 44,000 people there. But there's a couple kind of hot headlines that we got to hit, right? We talked about Sosa. We'll talk more about him. We'll talk about Romano. But I wanted to start with Bohm, right? I want to start with the Bohm thing. Because yesterday, in Game 2 of the series, in 4 at-bats, he saw 5 pitches, right? And that alone doesn't sound great. But we got to add an extra qualifier. The extra qualifier is he was going against a rookie 23-year-old pitcher that in the first 2 games, he only went 4 innings total, and he threw 9 walks. So we could have threw Slim up to the bat 4 times. If he didn't swing the bat, he was going to get to the plate. The guy's going to walk you at least once. But not for Bohm, apparently. So, Bones, what did you think about that? And on top of that, what did you think about I'm going to call it the benching of him?
Yeah, so I don't know if it's just like starting to get to his head already, like where he's not performing, so it's starting to get to his head at the dish. But literally, he's like the only one going against the grain, not seeing pitches on this team. It's weird. So, like before, he was always... That was the guy that was going to see the pitches. Him, Schwarber, he's going to play the gaps. And like we talked about with men on, getting the men on, he's just not delivering. And it's, that's the baby stuff starting to come back already as you see it. He's throwing his helmet and shit yesterday.
Yep.
So I think it was perfect day off for Bohm heading into Atlanta this week. Got the day off tomorrow again. So I think it's a good call by Topper to sit him today and hopefully can get his act together in this next 6 games before we return home, where it's going to be a bad homestand for Bohm when he returns with the booze. But like you said with Sasaki, and you said the 2 games, everybody's walking over him. Seeing pitches, we've seen him crying, Boom maybe he felt bad for him, and I'm the baby around here. You can't do
You're
that.
right.
But we'll see. Hopefully, it's a wake up call for him because he's gonna. To me, he's on a short leash.
So you're saying short leash, meaning do you think Sosa is just, chopping at the bit for that spot, or?
No, but he was a trade candidate all season. So
Yeah.
if the right deal comes, I could see him going. If Sosa's still swinging that bat, might as well. I don't think they'll bench him for Sosa, but he will get traded and replaced by Sosa.
Slim, where are you at on this, man?
So if he's getting benched because what happened yesterday, I think that's interesting because the next question is, how is Topper handling this? So we talked about Topper, the strategy guy. How's Topper in the clubhouse dealing with Boom emotionally with him maybe not doing something that he typically does, which is see pitches, So in my head, this is what I tell him. If it's Coach Slim, I say, Boom, you got to separate two things. You got two jobs here. Half your job is playing stellar defense. And like I said, to open the show, I honestly saw that in game 1 and game 2, especially in game 2. I thought he played great defense. The next thing is just get back to who he is. All these guys always said the last 2-3 years is we know we're good hitters. Eventually it's going to come back. And I think these guys do get crazy with jumping on the fastballs early. I think a couple things in the Phillies defense are two things we saw yesterday and today. I think pretty inconsistent umpiring behind the plate, and I think Sasaki, I think his velocity was up versus us. I think he kind of did have his best stuff in his since being in the MLB versus us. So I think whatever that means in 162 games. But there are 2 points I don't think we should lose when we're talking about the big picture of what Bohm looked like yesterday. With that being said, 4 pitches, 3 at-bats, absolutely unacceptable. But he also hasn't – there's been other moments of batters doing similar stuff. I've seen Kepler jump on first ball fastballs and get out. I've seen Schwarber do it. I've seen everybody do it, to be frankly with you. And one guy we've seen Harper do it. We've seen the whole lineup do it. So I think he'll be fine. So I'm not trading him for nobody quite yet.
Yeah, Bones.
So when the reliever came in today to face Castellanos, literally I'm sitting there watching. I said, "This asshole's going to swing at the first pitch." Well, he swung at the first pitch and he hit it a mile.
Yeah,
still hasn't landed yet, but
exactly.
he hasn't really swung at first pitches like that all year. But he picked a good time to do it today. So kudos to Castellanos.
And it's less necessarily the first pitch. Sometimes that you get a pitch to hit, swing at it.
Yeah.
But it's don't let the whole at bat get away from you there. And I think the biggest theme of this on the whole Bohm thing is, like Bones said, it's the short leash, right? That has already been kind of demonstrated. I mean, look, this was a huge series, right? This is the Dodgers, a playoff environment, the number 1 team in the league. Can you imagine if Harper or Turner or Schwarber or even Castellanos didn't start game 3 to the rubber match of the series? That's what Bohm's thinking right now, right? So he's not being held to the same standard as those guys, and that's clear. And Slim, you hit the nail on the head. Topper hit the right, pushed the right button, right? But there's 2. He's got a rest day tomorrow, and it worked. So we'll talk more about it. Go ahead, Slim.
Well, let's talk about Topper because he did the opposite of what Slim wanted, right? He started Marsh all 3 games. Marsh did pick up he did pick up an RBI. But I just checked Marsh's stats, and he's right at the Mendoza line, dude. He's batting 200 right now. I don't think he got a hit the entire series.
He's less than that now. Buck 74.
Oh my. Buck, that's even worse. So he's under the Mendoza line. It's time for where do we stand with Marsh? Because I'm frankly I'm tired of him.
Well, that's a that's a perfect segue, because that was actually going to be my very next topic I wanted to hit you guys on. So speaking of short leashes, speaking of Brandon Marsh, Slim, you called for this both on the podcast and on our side chat. You said defense is going to be important. Ding, ding, ding. You were correct, right? With JT showing that in the first game. And that's why you called for, you wanted Rojas out there. You didn't get that at all. Marsh got the opportunities. And in the very beginning of this podcast, in the beginning of the season, right, we said, and I'll raise my hand here, you said to me, Slim, how long of a leash do you think we get Marsh? And I said 6 weeks unless dumpster fire. So are we approaching dumpster fire? I don't know. But the biggest takeaway here, and I'm going to start with you, Bones, here is, what are we doing right now if the Marsh struggles continue? Do we go Sosa or do we get Rojas in there?
So I think Tuesday you're going to see Rojas in there because they're facing Chris Sale
Right.
for the lefty in the lineup, and then after that is what we'll see, like how Rojas plays on Tuesday. Maybe come Wednesday and Thursday he's still playing again because he's swinging a hot bat too right now.
He is.
Coming off the bench when he does play. So it's Topper, he's going to have to make decisions. And it's surprising that he didn't have him in there for this series at all, given the way Marsh was struggling, at least, especially like today, after the first 2 games, maybe put him in there with the day off on Monday. He's going to face a lefty anyway on Tuesday, so he's probably going to be out of the lineup. So I'm surprised. So that's what 3-4 days off. Surprised he didn't get it today. Today would have been the perfect day, to be honest, to give him the day off. But it's weird to not see him in there today. But I think they need to put him in there because he was swinging a hot bat.
Slim, I think I know where you stand on this, but what you want to add on that?
Well, like I said, I think, like Bones was saying, I think Topper's going to keep playing the matchups. And at what point does the matchups, when he's batting, if he's mostly facing righties and still struggling to bat 200, and he's slower than the guy on the bench, and I mean, at this point, they both bring the same thing. They both bring defense and batting 9-hole capabilities, because that's all they really are at this point, 9-hole hitters. So, yeah, I think we're still going to see him for a little while. He's still going to keep playing the matchups. But it's, man, if it stays like this and we're hitting Memorial, probably another 2 weeks. I think we'll give another 20 days, right? So I would give another 20 days. That'd be like a full month. We'll be like a full month into the season. And then maybe we'll start seeing Rojas against lefties and righties, or maybe we'll start seeing Sosa more out there. And then in the dark rooms of the prospects, people are talking about Crawford. I don't think we're going to get there yet, but hey, people are those murmurs are coming up. And I looked at that Lehigh, the Iron Pigs. Their lineup is stacked. It's absolutely stacked. Laconia is in homers. I had a source out there Friday night. They saw the Aiden Miller home run. They said that was an absolute.
Did they really?
Yeah, they said it was an absolute missile. Absolute missile. That's cool. They said that he looked great. So we're gonna have some options, and don't be surprised if we do make a deal, and it includes someone that unexpected, because we do have this depth, right? Don't you know what I'm saying?
100%. All right, so I have to ask this. So Topper was asked post game, basically, in regard to the Edmundo Sosa just on fire start, if he's comfortable putting him out there in left field against, I believe he was asked in the context of like a lefty starter, right? And he said unequivocally yes. So I got to ask, if, like you just said, Slim, if we give Marsh another couple weeks and this continues, why do you not just start Sosa in the outfield? Why not?
So start him in left field or center field?
Left field, center field, one or the other, and then just slide Kepler over to center.
So have Kepler play center field?
Or have Sosa play. Look, it wasn't a coincidence that Sosa went to center the other day. It was not a coincidence.
So the only problem is we want to keep Kepler in there because it seems like he might have some decent slugging. He has, I like his skill set, so I do think he seems like an everyday player right now. So that was my only question. Does Sosa take over left, or does he take over center field? at that point, I don't like it particularly because of the defensive aspect. You can't tell me Kepler or Sosa at this point in their careers are better defenders than Rojas. So I still
No.
like Rojas as a starter there. I would let him mature into whatever role he's going to be. A little, feisty 9-hole person. Never know what, trying to get walks, trying to be creative on the base pass because he plays into the aggressiveness that we're going with on the base pass. And with Sosa, I think we have a good thing. He knows his role. Let him keep doing the super utility player. Him being able to play the outfield just adds to those opportunities of him getting in the lineup. That's all. So, but no, I wouldn't look at it for him. I do not want to see Kepler, Sosa, and Castellanos starting every day.
No, and I agree with Chris. I think you got to give Rojas the chance before you go to that move. And then you brought up Crawford. He's raking down there. I think he had 3 RBIs today in a game. So I said it a couple weeks ago. If they're struggling, he's going to be up here soon. So.
All right, so I do. We're going to transition to Feel the Love, but I have an issue with what you guys are saying because you're basically saying you're comfortable with Rojas getting everyday bats over Sosa, and
No,
I
I'm
don't
not saying-
know how. That's what it sounds like you're saying. Then where would Sosa play then? Depending
on the day, he could be playing second base, he could be playing shortstop, he could be playing third base, he could be playing left field.
Okay, so then you would have Sosa. So you're saying you just kind of continue to move him around given the matchup, and then you want Rojas to be the everyday center fielder.
Yeah, that's what I would do. That's honestly what I would do.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got to give Rojas that chance, and then if he fails, that's when you go to the Sosa option. You know what I mean?
But it doesn't seem like it's really coming though. It seems like they're going to keep playing Marsh out there, and like you said, we're going to see if they mix in Sosa a little bit here and there. Yeah, I think we're primed for a trade. We're primed for some relief help because Romano is, he's struggling. So I love Strom. I love Alvarado. Kerkering, we saw he was a little mixed up a little bit today. Those 3 are fine, but we need more help there. Ross looked okay when he got in there this series.
Yeah,
but I could see we just seem primed for a move. And I think we're gonna let this play out for another 20 days, get a month into the season, measure where our outfield production's at that point. See where Kepler's at, see where Castellanos is at. And then move from there. I think we're winning games. We're able to do that. I think we still have time to assess before we. But with that being, I don't know why the Phillies aren't playing Rojas. I really don't. They're invested in. I think one reason is this.
I mean, have you seen him hit the past 3 years?
His last game was his best game, and I said at the last podcast. And now he hasn't played since. It's been 4 days. We talked about
his at bats. He's looked way more comfortable. And listen, the guy's electric out there. But hey, let's put a pin in that. These are somewhat good problems to have. We'll be monitoring this. We have a lot of chat activity. I want to give some shout outs there, and then we'll transition to Feel the Love. So first comment. So Steve Kaz, Bohm was just doing Sasaki a favor since he's now taking the mantle of biggest crybaby in baseball honor. So he's on the same page with you there, Bones.
Yeah.
Shane R said that Rojas bunt the other night was very nice. It was nice. Good call there, Shane. And then Jerry B said, bring up Crawford and trade Rojas and Marsh.
And we even saw Marsh today in a what could have been a bunting situation. He didn't bunt at all. He striked out, I believe. And
Good call.
The contact I've seen him make has been his RBI contact. I think was soft infield contact.
Marsh's stock is the lowest on the team out of anybody right now. That's for sure. He's very limited things to be that catch outside of that catch. Okay, so let's transition here to our weekly Sunday segment. Hold on here. We got something going on here, guys. Did I lose you guys?
Oh yeah. Hey, we're back.
There we go. We're back.
Hey,
we are back. All right, so
back.
So here we go, boys. Feel the Love brought to you by Love City Brewing. I gotta give them a shout out here. First of all, I got this nice little swagger here that I'm repping today with the Love City hat. And on top of that, I was actually at Love City on Friday night, the Jesus Luzardo game. Watched the game there. It was awesome. So awesome environment. Everyone go check it out. They are the partner of this segment that we do every week. And we're going to start off with you, Bones. Who are you feeling the love for this week?
So I'm feeling the love for the guy you just talked about on Friday night, and that's Jesus Luzardo. Second start as a Philly, first at Citizens Bank Park, and he lived up to the hype, man. Said it was like a October environment there, and he pitched well for it. Friggin' going 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts. Lowered his ERA to 1.5, and he just looked comfortable from the start. In and out, getting his pitches over the plate, just making people look uncomfortable. Outside of Ohtani, the first 2 at bats, he didn't have a lot of hard hit balls off of him, and it's just goes to show Caleb Coughlin, got to give him credit. Hopefully this kid can stay healthy, because if he continues to pitch the way he's pitching, the Phillies got a good problem to have come October of which pitcher is going to be sitting in going to the bullpen out of the rotation. The only thing I have on Luzardo, there's always good that comes with the bad. For a left-hander, he's got a slow move to the plate, man. Anybody can steal off this dude, and it's weird seeing it from a lefty, because they got that sidestep or whatever. Most lefties got a good pickoff move, but anybody can steal off him. Showed the last in his first 2 starts that I seen. Other than that, I ain't got no complaints from him.
No, not much to complain about so far. He's looked great. Slim, who you got for your field of love?
My field of love, and it's for all different types of reasons, but the catcher position. We put JT Realmuto on the bench, and my field of love is for Rafael Marchand. He seems excellent today. He got 4 plate appearances. He got on base all 4 times. He scored a run. If you can get on base and you know Schwarber's behind you, it's going to be fruitful innings for the Phillies over and over and over again. If the bottom of our lineup can turn it over, so just getting on base is excellent. One reason he's able to get on base, and this is why I picked this. I'm not going to lie. I picked this because he proved Slim right again, and I hope the Red Corner or the TRC producers go back, and I wonder if you 2 nimwits even know what I'm talking about, but here it comes. He's a switch hitter. Last week, you guys told me he was only a left-handed bat, and I told you he bats right-handed as well. He's a switch hitter. We saw him bat from both sides of the plate today. So that was huge, okay?
So we were both right. Nice.
Yes, we were both absolutely correct, and that's fine because, like I said, one of the big reasons he's on this team this year, or one of the big reasons he's on the team, one of his big emerging roles can be a place right-handed bat for us, was my point last week. And we've seen not too much of it yet, but if he can get on base, keep doing it, we can have confidence having him pitch hit and potentially right-handed hitting spots. That's all. So I love seeing that.
Yeah, and we talked about the other day with Marchand, where Realmuto wanted to play Thursday, day game after a night game, and he wanted to play that game instead of playing today. I guess to have a couple more days off, and Topper gave him that decision. So, and Marchand came out today and did what he had to do, and I think he's going to get a couple more starts during the weeks than what he does. Maybe sometimes he'll get like 3 starts just to ease the legs on Realmuto throughout the year, so we could save him for the playoffs.
I love Slim that's a real baseball junkie pick by you right there. You know, the guy didn't have the home run. He didn't have the RBIs, but what he did was he got on base, like you said, 4 times. He walked 3 times. He scored a run. And that's you can't ask for anything more from your backup catcher. So love that pick. And
get used to it. Like you said, we're going to see a lot of them.
Oh yeah, he's a big leaguer for sure. So my pick is the slam dunk. It's the Edmundo Sosa. And the guy is the hottest player in the big leagues right now. He leads the team in batting average at 550. He leads the team in hits with 11 hits. Bryce Harper is second on the team in hits. He's got 10. But here's the kicker. He's had 16 more at-bats than Sosa. So Sosa has an extra hit than Harper in 16 less at-bats. So the guy's on fire, and obviously you see that with the 550 batting average. So, look, no one's expecting this to continue, but it's awesome to see a fan favorite like him take advantage of every opportunity, and I feel the love for you, Edmundo Sosa. Let's hope that continues.
Yeah, and look, he had a multi-hit game, then he got benched, and he bounced back. Not even bounced back, he got plugged in today and got hits again today. So,
right.
Like I think with that, it's a good thing. Don't really have to mess it up. We don't got to force the hand too much there. There was one point today. What at bat was it? I thought that maybe he was starting to not get rattled, but show a little bit too overconfidence. When where the pitcher almost hit him, and he ended up he actually grounded into almost a double play, but he beat it out.
Yeah, so that was he knocked the winning run in there.
Right. So exactly. Yeah. So but that at bat I didn't love, but I love the rest of what we saw, and I love that we won the game there.
Alrighty, boys. Let's briefly preview the Dodgers series that we have coming in here. Right, where the Phillies head down to
Braves.
What did I say?
Dodgers.
Oh, okay. I'm sitting here. I'm reading the reaction here.
And
thank you for
real fast with the Dodgers.
Yeah, do it.
Glass now. Right, this guy, he looks like the brown hair Thor, right? He reminds me of Syndergaard. This dude's huge. Total wimp out there.
Yeah.
He every pitch was a ball. Granted, I don't think the ump was doing any of the pitcher's favors these last 2 games, but he did not. He's like a Cy Young top 5 type dude.
He had a meltdown. He had a meltdown.
He had a meltdown. Absolutely had a meltdown. So that's
we had a lot of babies. A lot of babies this series.
What is up with these LA? These LA when they come to the East Coast, these West Coast teams it really is something, and maybe it might answer the questions why we don't see some of these players from Asia come over to us, because maybe they'd rather just stay in that West Coast environment. They don't want to be here where it's rainy and damp,
right?
And they're going to be getting bugged with a bunch of questions by guys like the Red Corner and such.
Well, what do you
100%.
expect from a guy in a rotation that wants a 6-man rotation like you?
Well, when you're talking about the pitchers, I'm thinking about Nola being in the bullpen come the postseason.
That's fine with me.
Out. Yeah, right.
Uh-oh.
We'll see.
All right, shall we transition here to the Braves series?
Yeah, let's talk about the Braves.
Cool. Let me tee this up, and then Bones, we'll start off with you here. I'm just going to kind of set the stage. So, huge opening matchup, right? The Phillies fly down to Atlanta on Tuesday to face the Braves. Zach Wheeler flies home to his hometown in the Atlanta area to face the Cy Young winner in Chris Sale. So we got a battle of the 1 and 2 in Cy Young. Huge opportunity. That's game 1. Game 2, we have Taijuan Walker versus Grant Holmes, righty. And then game 3, we got the Lizard King, Jesus Luzardo versus Spencer Schwellenbach. That's like one of the funnest names to say. Righty. So nice little lineup here. Nice little setup for you there, Bones. Where we got?
Yeah. Right now, Sal not doing too hot. 0-1. ERA above 5. Atlanta's not doing too hot themselves. They lost 2 after getting their first win Friday. against the Fish, first one of the year. They lose 2 out of 3 in that series against them. So they're in the basement of the NL East. And they're about a month out from getting Ronald Acuna Jr. back. Maybe the end of this month they get him. And then still no Strider. It's Philly's got to put them away now. Just bury them while they're there. You don't want this team getting hot. You see what they can do when they are healthy.
Right.
And the more losses they get now, it's the deeper they got to dig back, claw back. And you don't want this team getting hot because they're going to be breathing down the neck of the Phillies. If towards the end of the year, if that happens. So this is a huge series. I think this might be a bigger series than this Dodger series just was, just for division purposes, and because you might not get an Atlanta team on a streak like this again. So got to beat them while they're down. And that Grant Holmes, that's a late addition. It was Bryce. I had Bryce Elder scheduled for that Wednesday game. As I was looking this up earlier today.
And again, that's from the Phillies website, so they might have make some changes. This does happen from time to time, so we'll when we do our recap on that, we'll follow up. But Slim, where are you at, man?
I totally agree with Bones. One thing right off the bat, we play divisional teams less each year, so when we do play them, there is a little bit of a prioritization to that. And the fact is, these Atlanta Braves coming into this season, that we hit it on it the last 2 shows. They weren't healthy, so that gave them that little overrated factor. And basically, their players are overrated. Albies ain't great. Michael Harris Jr. ain't great. You look at their lineup. They got multiple dudes. We're talking about they're all back. That they could all might as well just be 9 Brandon Marshes out there. So I think we have a great chance to jump. It's really not what I'm telling you. With these Atlanta Braves, they are not. It's not a good baseball team, and and I know it's not a good baseball team because I can start in here the whimpers, and we can add to it. We can put our foot on their throats, and we can really put them to sleep early on here. And this is how I know they're already talking about the manager, right? Oh, don't be too hard on the manager. Don't be too harsh. They're not trying to hold any accountability to their players. It's all these excuses already. And I think it's a great time for us to add. I think it's a great time to go there and absolutely dominate and sweep them. And that's what I'm expecting. All right. It's going to be early with Strider.
Ooh.
Don't get too. The Strider game. Yeah, not Strider.
Sal's
going to look good tomorrow. All right. So
Tuesday.
I'm expecting us to go in and sweep them. Sal's going to look good tomorrow, but we're going to get to their bullpen and we're going to score some runs. We're going to win that game by multiple runs. Game 2, the same thing. With Walker in there, he has confidence. I think he's going to be able to build his confidence versus this Braves team. Okay, I really do, because they can't hit either. And then Luzardo, I think, is going to dominate again. I think we're going to sweep, and I think they're all going to be by multiple runs. Okay, I really believe so. I really believe so. I don't think this Brave team is. I don't think they're it. I really don't think they're going to be. It's going to be us, the Mets, the Nationals. No, the Braves. I'm telling you, no. Miami, probably not, but interesting.
Okay, and I have by the numbers to support your claim on that, Slim. So in the chat here, we got Shane R saying that Braves and their fans are soft. Jeez.
Yeah, they're soft.
Shots fired there.
I just actually read the other day, you talked about Brian Snicker. This could be his last year as the manager. He's thinking about retirement after this year.
Yeah, he's not in it. He's not in it. Again, you read that. I read the opposite. I'm reading, hey, guys, something's not right there. It seems like whatever they had going for them for the last 25 years is spoiling.
All right, so this is a quick little by the numbers to support what you're saying, Slim. So far, the Braves hitters, they only have one hitter batting .250 or higher. They have 0 hitters with 2 homers at this point. Austin Riley has 14 strikeouts to 2 walks. One of their kind of saving graces, Ozuna is kind of still looking pretty good, right? He's got a 500 on base percentage and a 900 OPS, so he's been pulling his weight. But overall, Slim, you're right, man. Like the numbers are the numbers, so we will see. Speaking of the numbers, anything else we want to hit on the Braves series? You know, we're running a little bit long here, so do you want to get to the numbers in Slim-Pick-Ems at this point?
Oh, yes. For Slim-Pick-Ems, let's check them out real fast.
Let's do it, baby.
So let me pull these up. Bump, bump. All right. So for tomorrow, these are all for Monday. Bump, bump. You can take all -1.5. These are all going to be road teams. The lines may or may not be up, but we do the -1.5 with the road teams because it saves us between 50 to 60 cents. Okay. So I bet that should be maybe +1 or -110. Will be about +140 to +150. With that said, here we go. Take the Cardinals -1.5. They should be about +135. The Dodgers -1.5 should be somewhere around -105. Maybe get lucky and get them +105, +110. The Padres, again, they should be -1.5 or around even. And then the Rangers, here's a juicy one. -1.5. They should be about +165. We got to go back, look at the numbers, and next week we'll start posting these. We'll start posting the wins and losses and the total units made. All right, because we've been riding a couple of these dogs and they haven't been working. Those people who get into the numbers, it's been one of the lowest scoring first 10 days in MLB the last 10 years. Away teams have been scoring barely 4 runs a game. So it's something to keep an eye on. But, yeah, we're looking to hammer some of the teams that we think are going to be good down the line here. The Dodgers, the Rangers, and the Padres and the Cards we're looking to get back on track after having a couple of rough away losses this past weekend. And of course, the Phillies. Of course, the Phillies.
Listen, kudos to you for always having picks ready. And then, like we say every week,
Seriously, take
Slim.
the Phillies take the Phillies all 3 games and just keep taking it because they're going to beat them all 3 games.
Love that bold statement there. You're frozen on the screen there, Slim, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But we are ready to close down shop here. We'll close down in the same way that we always do, Bones, with On This Day in Phillies History.
So on this day in Phillies history, 2006, we talked about the other day how Jimmy Rollins extended his hitting streak to 36 games. Well, on this date, it ended at 38. He didn't get a hit, so it ended at 38. And then the other one was on this date, 2001, the Phillies inducted or retired numbers for Chuck Klein, Jim Bunning, and the other one I somehow deleted. I forget the other guy. But they didn't have numbers back then, so they couldn't retire. They didn't have numbers on their jersey, so they couldn't retire their number until a certain thing. But yeah, they officially retired their numbers back then. I deleted. I couldn't get back. I'm sorry. Failure.
No, that's fine. No worries here, and we're
that was it.
Closing. We lost Slim, man down. But guys, great episode. Thank you for hanging out in the chat. Anyone who's watching in the future, watching now, make sure you're subscribed and make sure you're following us on all the socials. A huge series over the Dodgers. We will be reporting back this week on the Braves series. And until then, go Phils. Bam.